All right, why I refused to go to Spanish school. All right, for me, the idea was simple. It was I wanted to speak Spanish from day one. Not perfect Spanish, not fancy Spanish, just real Spanish that I could actually use. And that's the lane for this course. All right, I'm going to explain why I teach this way. I'm not a teacher, disclaimer. My Spanish is not amazing, right? I'm still learning as I'm going. But a lot of people are asking me about how I learned Spanish. So let's get into it. So in 2018, after watching Narcos, I grew up in South Florida, so we have a lot of Spanish speakers here. But it's Caribbean Spanish, right? It's Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, like it's a lot. So I was watching Narcos, and I'm like, man, I need to go to Medellin. I need to learn Colombian Spanish. This is my gateway to Spanish. So I went to Medellin in 2018, right? Everywhere day week or week one or day one, whatever. I met Americans, I met Europeans, I met Asians, I met Africans, I met Australians. They were all enrolled in Spanish schools. They were studying. They told me they're in school 5 hours. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, not 8 to 10 hours, but 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, every day in school and classrooms. Notebooks full of grammar and just conjugation rules that are making my head hurt. Okay, a lot of them were spending a lot of money on these programs. So naturally, everybody assumed, "Hey, man, what school you go to? What Spanish school are you going to?" I told them, "I'm not going to any Spanish school, bro. I came here to learn Spanish on the streets with real people, with the Colombians. Why am I coming to Colombia to to be in school, bro? It's not the point." And I don't knock that. I mean, people learn differently, but for me, it was I gotta get it out the mud. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. So they were like, "Man, you crazy, whatever." Anyways, so but I already knew something they didn't. Right? I knew something that they did not. Most of them only spoke. They speak one language, and I get it. But think about your first language, right? English, German, whatever language you speak. You didn't study grammar before you could speak. You listen to people. You listen to your mom. You made mistakes. You repeated what you heard. You got corrected. You tried again. That's how every human on this earth learns to talk. Input and output, not conjugation rules. Right? That's what worked for me. So I already knew what didn't work when my Spanish teacher, Miss Pimentel, was giving me a binder full of notebooks, binder full of notes, binder full of notebooks, a binder full of notes. I couldn't speak Spanish. I'm memorizing conjugation charts that it doesn't help me speak, man. You can pass every Spanish test that you want, and you can still freeze in real conversation. So knowing Spanish on paper is not the same as speaking Spanish with people. And I wasn't about to pay thousands of dollars to repeat repeat my same mistakes. So instead of enrolling in the school, I did something that was uncomfortable. I went outside. I talked to people. I talked to the taxi driver. I talked to the lady at the tienda. I talked to people at the restaurants, strangers at the park. I ordered food wrong. I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I said agüita. No, I said aguacito. I was like, everything ends in cito. So I said, dame un aguacito. And they looking at me like, what the hell are you saying? Like everybody laughing at me. But I remember that. And I would never say aguacito again. That's the point. Put it in the reps. Put it in the reps. If they misunderstand me, I say, hey, communicate. Where did I make a mistake? You listen how people speak. Sometimes I will go to the park. I will go to the where would I go? I will go to the university, or I will go to language exchanges, and I would just listen to the Colombians speak Spanish amongst themselves, and I would just listen how they spoke, not how the textbook said they should. Hola, cómo estás? Like no, all right. So 3 months later, after I did all those things. And those same people that I spoke to, they could write a paragraph about their weekend, but they couldn't speak, right? They couldn't speak. They couldn't speak Spanish after 3 months. I'm like, bro, you're in Spanish school for 3 months, and my Spanish is running circles on your Spanish. I could order food. I could ask for help. I could talk to people. I could move around without panicking, right? The difference wasn't talent, it was the repetitions. I was speaking Spanish every day. I was moving around. I was listening to Spanish, not in a classroom, listen to the teacher talk about whatever the heck. The goal is listen, speak, repeat every day. Input, fill your ears with real Spanish, music, podcasts, shows, conversations. Output, open your mouth and speak, even if it comes out ugly. It's not our native language. I don't care if I make mistakes. I'm not a native Spanish speaker. And that's what you guys got to remember. Like, you got to make mistakes. A lot of people that I speak to, they're afraid to make mistakes. We're not perfect. I make mistakes in English. It's my native language. So even if it sounds rough, you got to put in the work. Nobody gets strong by reading about push-ups. You get stronger by doing push-ups. You don't get stronger by learning how to squat or reading how to squat or listening how to squat. You got to squat. You got to clean, right? So now, before somebody gets nervous, let me be clear. The grammar still matters, but it shouldn't be the priority. Like I told you, I make grammar mistakes every day in English, but nobody cares because they understand what I'm saying. President Trump was saying, I remember what he was speaking to somebody in Liberia. He was like, "You speak good English." That's incorrect. Or me and him went to the store. That's incorrect. That's wrong grammar. But I understand, right? Spanish isn't your native language. It's never gonna be like flawless. Even in English, my English, I'm learning different words, like British English words every day. Like, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm like, damn, what word was that in English, in my native language? You're never gonna be 100% flawless in a language, especially a language that's not your native language. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is being understood, and the goal is connecting with people. That's the goal. And that's why this course is built around regular Spanish, speaking first. You got to speak. Okay. Every module is designed to get you to speak, to get your mouth moving. All right. Real phrases, real slang, real situations that you're really going to see when you go to Colombia. If you're already in Colombia, right? If you're already in a Spanish school, just leave that Spanish school, man. Save your money and come learn with me. But all right, so by the end of this course, you're gonna learn a lot of stuff, right? So when you hear a phrase, say it out loud immediately, not in your head, not silently. Move your mouth. Words have to come out. Sound has to come out, right? If you're on the bus or train, mouth the words, okay? Right? This is how the course is gonna work, right? It's free, so do those things for me. I should be a rapper. See you guys in the next module. All right, so module 2, this is day 1 survival. Phrases, money, and not looking lost in Colombia, okay? So these are things that you're going to be able to use in restaurants, taxis, tienda, street, basic conversations, okay? So first thing, we're going to look at greeting. So cubo, cubo. You're going to hear this a lot. That's the casual what's up, right? Cubo, cubo, cubo. okay? Which literally means, it comes from the word que hubo, which literally means what happened or what's up, all right? Que más, que más. This is the go-to Colombian greeting. You heard it probably from Maluma. Que más pues, right? Que más. It's like, what's good? Que más. All right. This is my favorite one. Bien o no. I heard this in Narcos a lot. Bien o no. You gotta sound like the Narcos character. Bien o no. All right. This is the chill follow up when you're gonna hear this one a lot. You're gonna hear this everywhere. Okay. And the most slightly more respectful one is gonna be como vas. This is smoother. Como vas. You use this. This is the safest one I'd say. Como vas. You just use this when you meet strangers, older people, right? But you could say que más, you could say cubo, you could say bien o no, right? Como vas. Okay. Once you hear these greetings, now you'll understand why the textbook greeting can just sound too clean, right? Because we learn in Spanish, hola, ¿cómo estás? Nobody really says hola, ¿cómo? I mean, you can hear it, right? ¿Cómo estás? Right? But when we're learning Colombian Spanish, it's boring, man. Let's just, ¿qué más? Right? It's correct, but just pay attention to your surroundings. When you're in Colombia, just try to mirror what people are saying. So pay attention to what people are saying. That's the fastest way and the most natural way to kind of like understand, the setting, and you can kind of use what you hear, right? So if everybody says que más or bien o no or cubo, right? You can move around and figure out how you want to greet people. All right. So now that we got that out the way, let's look at phrases that help immediately. So phrases you need from day one. Cuánto vale? Cuánto vale? Right? In Mexico or Spain, we learn Mexican Spanish. You probably learn cuánto cuesta, right? But in Colombia, I'm about to say Colombia, we say in Colombia we say like I'm Colombian. All right, like in Colombia they say cuánto vale. Vale sounds very natural here in Colombia. So la cuenta por favor, right? La cuenta por favor. Check please, or the bill please. La cuenta por favor. If you're in a restaurant. ¿Dónde queda? ¿Dónde queda? Where is? Right? ¿Dónde queda el baño? Where's the bathroom? ¿Dónde queda el hotel? Where's the hotel? Right? ¿Dónde queda wherever? El café, right? So, other word you're going to learn is más despacio, por favor. Más despacio, por favor. For when you're in Barranquilla or Cartagena or Santa Marta and they're talking your head off and you don't know what they're saying. Más despacio, por favor, Dios mío. All right. So now that we got más despacio, slow down, please. Let's look at words that when you don't understand something, right? No entiendo. I don't understand. You probably use this constantly, right? If you're learning Spanish in the beginning, no entiendo. No entiendo. Es que no entiendo, right? When you're lost. Don't just smile and pretend you understood. No entiendo. So they can break it down for you, right? No entiendo. Puedes, right? Can you, right? Otra vez, por favor, right? Otra vez, por favor, or porfa is going to be the more casual one. Otra vez, porfa, right? No entiendo. Otra vez, porfa. Repeat that or something, right? And also, you're probably going to need como se dice. Como se dice. Como se dice. Right? And they'll tell you, right? Como se dice. Como se dice. Okay? And they'll break it down for you. They'll tell you what it is, right? So that's going to help you when you're in Colombia. So you can kind of understand and learn words like that, right? So these are going to be the three phrases that you're probably going to want to use a lot, right? You're not going to understand everything, right? And that's okay. Now let's get into one small word that makes you sound more Colombian, right? Un tinto, por favor. Un tinto, por favor. Un tinto is a black coffee. So they don't really say un café negro or, they now probably understand you when you say un americano, right? Un americano. But un tinto, when you're in the, you're walking down the street and you see the lady with the machine. Un tinto, por favor, right? Easy, useful. So tinto does not mean red wine in Colombia like it does in Spain. Just keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. Now let's look at tú. Tú, nadie como tú. Listen to Spanish music too, right? So don't just default to tú. In Colombia, they use a lot usted. Usted. They say usted, right? Usted, usted. That just means, right? Usted, right? You. Don't just always default to tú, right? So with friends, with strangers, with older people, in polite situations, you're gonna hear usted, right? With friends, couples, usted, right? So don't assume tú is always the better choice. Listen to what other people are using, right? If they use usted, you can usted back, right? Mirror them. Usted, right? Now let's talk about plata, money, Colombian pesos, and we'll confuse you. Here's why. So you got 15,000 pesos. A cheap meal should be around 15. Cheap meal 20,000 nowadays. Colombia is getting a little bit more expensive. 20,000, 25,000 Colombian pesos. A night out could be 200,000 Colombian pesos or 500,000 Colombian pesos. So let's look at the numbers, right? So 15,000 is 15,000. 30,000 is 30,000. 50,000 is 50,000. 100,000 is 100,000. So don't just hear the Spanish number, picture it in your head. 100,000, 100,000, right? So what I would do is, put it in the chat GPT, whatever, and just go down 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. Like you should improve. This is Colombian pesos, right? But you should know the numbers, right? But those are going to be your bills, right? You're going to have mil, 1,000, 5,000. I think we have 2,000. Wait, do we have 2,000? A mil is a coin, and the 2,000 Colombian peso is the blue one, right? So picture those things in your head, those numbers in your head. All right. Always ask the price first. ¿Cuánto vale? Right? Before you get in a taxi, before you order, before you agree to anything, ¿cuánto vale? Right? Especially in Poblado and Getsemani and where in Granada, wherever you're gonna be in Colombia and in Chapinero and these neighborhoods, Boca Grande, like wherever you're gonna be in Colombia, right? You should always ask ¿cuánto vale? Right? ¿Cuánto vale? Mm, ¿Cuánto vale? So you don't want to mix up the prices, right? Because you don't want to mix up, like somebody could tell you the price of the taxi is dos millones, right? Un mil is 1,000. Un millón is 1 million or a million, right? So keep that in mind, right? How do you handle money, right? Let's look at the money. Muy caro, too expensive. Muy caro. You can also say tiene cambio. Do you have change? Tiene cambio. You can also say acepta tarjeta. Do you take card? Which probably they don't take. Colombians hate cards, boy. I try to pay with card all the time. I don't like carrying cash, and you most of the time you're gonna need cash, especially like in Cali or in these smaller cities like Barranquilla. You're probably gonna need to pay with with your cash, right? Acepta tarjeta. Acepta Neki, which is something like the Colombia's Cash App, right, or Colombia's Venmo. or Colombia's, whatever you use in your country, but this is like their version of it. You probably don't have it, or you probably do have it. I don't know, but I don't have it. I've been living in Colombia on and off for like 7 years. I still don't have Neki. But let's say you do. Say acepta Neki, right? So, what did we just learn here in module 2? We learned how to say "cubo," right? We learned how to greet each other. ¿Qué más? Bien o no? ¿Cómo vas? You learn the phrases for prices, directions, bills. You learn how to say coffee, un tinto, right? So this is the things that you're gonna need to practice. Go back and watch it if you need it. ¿Qué más? Bien o no? Right? Repeat. Put it in a Google Translate, a Google pronunciation, and just hear how it's pronounced. Right? ¿Cómo vas? Module 3, Colombian slang. Let's get to it. So, Colombian slang, this is what you guys need to pay attention to. Some of these words are going to be safe. Some of these words you got to be careful. All right. You got to understand the Colombian slang. You got to try to see if you could use it as well. So, grammar is going to get you understood. The slang gets you accepted. All right. So, every country has its own way of talking, right? But the Colombian slang is different. Use it right, and the Colombians are going to be happy that you are using their slang because their slang is unique, right? So, um, yeah, slang has rules though. So use it wrong, and it's obviously you learned it from an app and not from people. If you use it right, that you get, like I said, you get accepted. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna start with the first slang word. Desde Colombia, parcero. If anybody knows what album that is, who sings that part, who sings that song, put it in the comments. It's really easy though. Desde Colombia, parcero. All right. So first word is parcero, right? You can see my uh, pronunciation right here. The emphasis is on the se. Parcero, parcero, right? Not parcero, not parcero. It's parcero, all right? Cero. Or parce for short. Parce. Emphasis on the parce, all right? The literal idea is partner, associate, but in Colombia it's like homie, bro, you know, my guy, my mate, right? So keep that in mind. So parce is the shorter version. For example, we could say "Que más parce?" That means what's good, bro? What's up, bro? Or "Ese es mi parcero," right? Or ese man es mi parcero," right? That's my guy. That's my homie. That's my mate, right? For guys and British guys, right? That's my mate, right? All right. So this one is low risk. Use it with your friends. Use it with people you're vibing with. Parce. Que más parce. Next word is bacano, right? Bacano. Bacano. It's bacano, right? Cool. Awesome. Nice. Dope. All right. So you can use it for a person, a place, a plan, a song. You can use it for a lot of things, right? But you could use it for these things, right? Que bacano. Que bacano. Bacano. That's cool. That's dope. Él es muy bacano. He's a really cool guy. Él es muy bacano, right? Or you can say, like I said, que bacano. What else I got here? Yeah, so these are things you could use, right? If somebody helps you, and you could say, que bacano, gracias, que bacano. So that's like instant connection, instant warmth right there, right? So it's a really nice word that you could use for pretty much everything, right? So in Australia, you guys say sick or mint. This word is Chimba. You got an emphasis on the chim. Chimba. Chimba. Right? Chimba can mean amazing, incredible, fire. That's fire. Right? The best. Right? Initially in Colombia, this word, I mean, I'll probably still use it as woman's part. It's a vulgar, you know, woman part, right? But it evolved through time. Be careful with this word. That's why you got to be a little bit careful for it with it, right? So it's a part, like I said, it's a woman's part. So don't treat it like a clean word, but it is everyday Colombian speech. People use it positively, but the tone changes everything, right? So it could be good. I use it. I mean, mainly when I hear it's really good, right? Kichimba, right? That's incredible. That's awesome. That's fire, right? Kichimba, kichimba. But you can also use it negatively too, like esa chimba. Depending on the tone, right? You see my tone went flat. Esa chimba. Esa chimba. Esa fucking chimba, right? So you can use it, right? You can say, like I said, you could use it positively or negatively, right? So just know that, be careful with who you use it with, because this is a vulgar term. I wouldn't use it around the grown-ups, around the elderly folk, right? So chimba, right? Next word is de una. Some people in the Colombian on my TikTok, if you guys follow me on TikTok, I have a video when I say when I'm teaching de una. And a lot of people told me that a lot of Colombians also say D1 or day one, or I think it's D1. They say so they change. It's kind of like Spanglish, but de una is of one or from one, and it's pretty much like say less, right? De una, right? Emphasis on the u, de una, right? So say less. I'm down. Let's go right now, right? No hesitation. Let's go. It's a fast yes. De una. Say less. We out. For my Florida folk, we out. Let's go. You know. So somebody says, "Vamos de una. Vamos a comer de una. Vamos a salir de una. Vamos a tomar un cafecito, un tinto. Sorry, Cuban. Vamos a tomar un otro café, un otro tinto. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? De una, parce. Right? De una. Say less. Right? In British, in England, you guys say I'm in. Right? We also say I'm in America, but you know I'm in. Right? So yeah, de una. Let's go. Next word is listo. You're gonna hear this word a lot, right? You're gonna hear this word like 50 times a day. Listo. Listo. So listo is listo, right? Listo. Listo, right? Listo. So it's pretty much ready, or and the literal meaning is ready or smart, right? Él es muy listo. He's real smart. That's the literal meaning. But in Colombia, it's more like, okay, got it, done, we're good, understood, cool, right? Listo. Or moving on, listo, right? Listo, listo, all right? So, for example, cashier gives you change, listo. Friend confirms a plan, listo. Waiter takes your order, she's finished or he's finished with your order, listo. All right? So it's like, okay, got it, right? Listo. Something explains something. They can ask you like listo, like right. It's kind of like all right, listo, listo, right? So you could hear this word a lot. You could hear this word a lot. So just in basic conversation, understand what it means. You can use it, right? So next word is que pena. Que pena, right? Emphasis on the p. Que pena. Que pena. Que pena. What a shame. What an embarrassment. That's the literal translation. But que pena is more like, excuse me, or sorry, my bad, my fault. That's my fault. Que pena. Que pena con usted, right? Sorry to bother you. Is que pena con usted. We learned usted, right? Que pena con que pena con usted. Que pena. What a shame. Que pena contigo. My fault. Sorry for bothering. for bar. You're gonna hear this word a lot, right? You're gonna hear this word a lot, especially in Antioquia. You hear this word a lot. Que pena, parce, que pena, right? So if someone says que pena to you, they're usually apologizing or politely trying to get your attention, right? So yeah, we got that, right? Everybody got that? Que pena. The next word is marica, 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 right? Marica. Emphasis on the ri. Marica. I think I'm saying that right. Even I make mistakes. Maybe the Colombians will be like, hey man, are you pronouncing that right? Marica. Sí o no? Sí o qué? Marica. Literal translation or literal meaning is it's like it's a homophobic slur, right? That's what it means. But in Colombia, it's kind of like uh, you know, what is it? What dude, bro, man, mate, or in what's the guys from Australia? They be making me laugh. They be like, he's a good cunt. He's a cunt. But this is a homophobic slur, but Colombians use it like a close friend. Right? You hear guys say it, you hear women say it. It's part of normal everyday speech in Colombia. Ay, marica, no sabía. Marica, viste eso? Marica. Like, bro, did you see that? In the ay, marica, no sabía. It's like, dude, I had no idea. Didn't know. No sabía. Yeah, that's what we'll talk about the accents, right? It's like really paisa accent, marica. Right? It's like really funny the way they pronounce stuff. It's really nice. But yeah, so depending, this is the word I'd kind of be, worry about like who you use it. Like I think people use it with more of a close friend, right? It's I mean, you can use it within each other. It's kind of like in America we use the N word, or like maybe it's not the same. Maybe it's not the same. Maybe it's not the same because I'm not saying everybody, right? My N word, right? So you just gotta be careful who you use it with. You probably use it with your friends, right? If you get what I'm saying. The next word is okay. The next word is paila. 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 So paila means pan, right? It means it's a large cooking pan. But in Colombia, it's like tough luck or too bad, so sad. That's rough. Paila. No hay mesa. Paila. Se me perdió el celular o el teléfono. Paila, parce. Right? Damn. It's like, damn, bro. Like, damn, that sucks. Paila. Paila. Right? It's just, shit happens, right? Paila. That's tough. That's rough. Next word is rumbiar. Rumbiar. Emphasis on the R. Rumbiar. Rumbiar. If you say it faster. Rumbiar. Rumba is to rumba, to dance, to celebrate. Right? Vamos a rumbiar. Right? Vamos a rumbiar. Yeah? Rumbiar. Right? So, um, the other word is like parchar. I don't really use this. I don't really hear this a lot. It depends on the region, but some people say parchar. It's to patch, to hang. It's the same, to chill. Vamos a parchar. Parchar. Vamos a parchar. Wanna chill? Vamos a parchar. Right? Vamos a rumbear. Right? So rumbear is a night out. Parchar is Netflix and chill. Hopefully with a woman. I mean, with whoever you want to do it with, right? It's to chill, to hang out. Vamos a parchar. Vamos a rumbear. Okay? And now we have no dar papaya. No dar papaya. Papaya. No dar papaya. Don't give papaya, which is papaya is a tropical fruit. Don't give a tropical fruit. But in Colombia, it's don't make yourself an easy target. Okay, you're gonna hear this a lot. Flashing your necklace, your chain, And, you got your iPhone 18 Pro Max. You know, if you watch walking around taking photos, like this is no doubt papaya, right? Don't flash cash, don't flash jewelry, don't leave your bag loose, don't leave your computer, your laptop out loose, right? Don't no doubt papaya. It's kind of like, you know, it's awareness, not paranoia. It's for you to be careful, okay? Don't give people an opportunity to take advantage of you, right? Or to take your things. So you're gonna hear this term a lot. So yeah, we learned a lot of words. We learned bacano, listo, que pena, de una, parce, parcero, paila, rumbear, parchar, chimba, marica, right? We learned a lot of words. So go back to the video if you want to go back and pronounce it, right? So also, like I said, you go in Google Translate or Google pronunciation, type in Google pronunciation, and you can put whatever word you want. Or you can just put it in the chat GPT and try to pronounce it. No dar papaya, right? Papaya, right? So see you guys in the next module. All right, pronunciation and that Colombian accent. Okay, so we got to be able to understand that Colombian Spanish has its own rhythm, it has its own warmth, it has its own sound. So we're going to train how to speak, right? So we don't sound like Google Translate. Okay, so the difference between being understood and being and belonging. All right, being understood is that the vocabulary gets you understood, the pronunciation gets you respected. Kind of like with the slang. Okay. When you nail that Colombian accent, people stop treating you like a tourist and they start treating you like someone who actually paid attention to the Colombian Spanish. All right. Colombian Spanish is one of the best Spanishes out there. It's not the best because it's clear. It's known for being clear. It has a rhythm depending on where you are. Right. You also can you can understand it better. So we got to listen to that accent, and if we can try to pronounce it, pronounce and try to mimic that accent if we can. Don't try to force it, but just know that it's not like Mexican Spanish way or like Argentine Spanish like chave le boludo, right? So you got to remember that it's a different Spanish. So when you come in here, like, quick story, I was walking down Laureles one time, and I was just walking down, and then I seen this American guy. Obviously, I could tell he's American, and he just started speaking to the Colombian guy in Mexican Spanish, and I'm like, he's calling the guy all types of way and all types of no mom. Like, literally, he was like, no mom. It's like, wait, bro, you're read the room. You're not in Mexico. And probably he understood, the Colombian guy understood this American, but you're speaking Mexican Spanish. It's like, did you, put any effort to learn Colombian Spanish or just understand your surroundings? Like, it's not one size fits all, right, with the Spanish. So you got to understand that. All right, let's get to it. So what the heck? Why is my slide looking all weird? Okay, this is what makes Colombian Spanish sound Colombian. Okay, fucking Canva. All right, Colombian Spanish has a melody. Okay, the sentence rises and falls. Right, it feels warm when people speak. It does not sound stiff. It does not sound robotic. Different regions have different sounds. Right, Bogota does not sound like Medellin, and Medellin does not sound like Cartagena. Paisa Spanish is not the Rolo Spanish. Caleña Spanish is not Pasto Spanish. So you got to remember where you are, right? So don't just try to copy the words. You got to copy the rhythm too. Okay, let's get into the j, the yays, the double L's and the Y's, right? So the double L sound and the Y sound. This is one of the fastest ways to sound more Colombian. Okay, in a lot of Colombian Spanish, the double L and the Y sounds like a soft J. Sounds like a soft American or English J. Sorry, a smooth J. Right. So think between J and Y. Okay. So ella becomes ella. Right. Calle becomes calle. Medellin becomes Medellin. See? You see the difference? Where in Argentine Spanish, it could sound sh, like chave, right? Like Medellin, Medellin, or cache, right? Or esha, right? So in Colombian Spanish, it will be ja, the soft J, Medellin, Medellin, calle, right? So once you understand that, now we moving forward. Now we can sound a little bit Colombian, right? We don't sound like that American guy who sounds like he's speaking Mexican Spanish. Okay. Okay, let's do a quick practice drill. We're gonna do a quick practice drill. So practice, pause the video. If you're on the metro, if you're on the train or you walk, whatever you're doing, if you pause this video, go back home, and we're gonna do practice drills, right? We're gonna practice the pronunciation. Okay. So this is the practice slide. Don't just read it, say it out loud with me, okay? So the word is ella, which is she. The textbook version is ella. Colombian version becomes ella. Okay. Calle, which is street. The Colombian version becomes calle. Okay. Pollo, which is chicken, becomes pollo. Pollo. Llamar, which is to call. The Colombian version of llamar is llamar. Llamar. See the emphasis on that mar? Llamar. Lluvia, which is rain. Lluvia. Colombian version becomes lluvia. Lluvia. La lluvia. All right. Cuchillo, which is knife. The Colombian version becomes cuchillo. Cuchillo. Rodilla, which is knee. The Colombian version becomes rodilla. Rodilla. Silla, which is chair. The Colombian version becomes silla. Silla. Like, comment, subscribe to this video. What you doing, man? Gotta, you know what I'm saying? Get right. Get right. You getting all this knowledge. At least like, comment, subscribe or something. Do something. All right. A lot of people like to pronounce Medellin, and I was one of these people. Medellin. Medellin, right? Which is the double L that we learn in school, right? The Mexican Spanish or whatever, the Spain Spanish, right? Medellin, the Colombian pronunciation of Medellin is Medellin. 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 The stress is on the Jean, like Billie Jean, right? Y'all watch that movie, Michael? Billie Jean, Medellin. Medellin. Billie Jean, Medellin is not my love. Hey! And get demonetized for singing the song. All right. Play with it. Play with it. Play with it, Juice. All right. So Medellin. So we got to remember that's how you pronounce it, right? That those double L's that you see, natural Colombian Spanish or spoken Colombian, is the J sound. So now that we know how to pronounce Medellin, now we got to pronounce that soft D. Pause. In Colombian Spanish, the D between vowels gets very soft. Okay. So, for example, we can see right here we have nada, nada, nada. In Colombia, that becomes nada. The D's kind of disappears. And it's not nada, it becomes nada, nada, nada. It almost disappears, that D. nada, nada. To, todo is not, hey, todo, dime todo, right? It sounds like a guy, dime todo. I like food. Dime todo, right? Goddamn caveman. Todo. Okay? Todo. Todo. Right? Todo. 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 Right? Verdad. Verdad is the word, right? Like true, true. For my 2 Chainz fans. Verdad. It's like the D at the end almost disappears too. Verdad. Verdad. Verdad? Verdad? Not verdad. Not ciudad. It's ciudad. Ciudad, which is city. Ciudad. La ciudad. ¿Te gusta la ciudad? Sí, me gusta. Sí, pues sí. Sí. Todo. Nada. Verdad. Ciudad. Okay, soft D. Colombian D. Soft. Okay. Pause. Swallowed endings. This pauses everywhere. I'm very immature, guys. So swallowed endings. Okay. So Colombian Spanish has a lot of swallowed endings, especially these words. You're going to hear them in the coast, because in the coast you have a lot of fish. I mean, you have fish in the coast, right? But they swallow their endings because they just do. It's like Caribbean Spanish, right? Kind of like that Dominican, that Puerto Rican, that Cuban Spanish that you hear, right? So you're gonna hear, for example, they swallow the word pescado, which means fish. Okay, so pescado becomes pescado, pescado. So you see how we don't hear the ado, it becomes pescado, pescado, right? Para dónde vas? Where are you going? They eat this word. It's like pa dónde vas, pa dónde vas. Instead of saying para, de pa dónde vas, pa dónde vas. It's like they don't even say the ra, right? Pa dónde vas. Like, you know what I'm saying? In English, we swallow our words too, right? Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Pa dónde vas? Pescado. Vamos. Let's go. Vamos. 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 You don't even hear the S, right? Let's go. Vamos. You're not going to hear vamos. Vamos. You can hear vamos, but you're going to hear also vamos or estamos. Textbook version becomes estamos. And sometimes you don't even hear the S. Estamos. 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 I should have put estamos instead of est. Estamos. Estamos. Estamos claros. Cisas. Cisas. Estamos claros. Sí, cisas. Sorry. All right, bro. I'm about to get this video demonetized. I keep singing songs. All right, so para la casa, which is to the house. Para la casa, para la casa. Todo becomes. Remember, we learned todo before. We could say todo, right? But when they swallow this word, it's like to, to, to. You see that? It's like we don't even pronounce the D. To, todos laos. And in Escobar movie was it Narcos? En todo, yo tengo ojos en todos laos. He didn't even pronounce any other word. Todos laos. Yo tengo ojos en todos laos. I have my eyes everywhere. That's what Pablo said in this. Todos laos. Todo. Right? You don't even hear the D. You don't even hear the L. Todo lado. Right? Todo lado. Right? Helado, which is ice cream. Helado. Helado. Remember, the H, we're going to go into with the silent H. H, you don't pronounce, it's not helado, right? It's helado, helado, helado. Okay. Nada, which is nothing. Nada, nah, nah, nah. And then para becomes pa. Pa donde vas? Remember? Pa donde vas, right? Pa. Don't even say para. It becomes pa. It's the most common. Pa. Pa 4 and 2, which is pa. Pa ya, there. Pa donde? Pa ya, right? So keep that in mind, the swallow endings. So if you only study that perfect textbook Spanish, you don't see that real Colombian speech that they use, right? So you gotta keep that in mind, lock in, and remember that, right? Remember that's why you gotta listen to a lot of things too, so you can hear people speak, right? Hear a lot of podcasts. We don't get into the podcast too and audios that you should listen to, but keep that in mind. Okay, let's go to the roll R's, right? Roll R's, very important, guys. My Americans, my Brits, my Aussies, my Irishmen, in the rocky road to Dublin, right? My guys, right? My Canadians, right? We don't like this rolled R's, huh? We don't really like this, right? The R's, rolled R's. But we got a trick for you guys, man. So what I want you to do, right, my Americans, my English speakers, but I think in Ireland they have some of these words, right? They have R. We're gonna get into it, but the trick that I tell most people is like, right? Right? You want to say, I gotta practice my, right? You want to practice the butter. So try to say butter fast. Butter, 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 butter. You see my tongue, but well, you can't see my tongue. Butter, 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 ladder, 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 ladder. You see that tongue is like the middle sound in your tongue is supposed to make that movement where it kicks up to the air, right? Butter, 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 ladder, 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 butter, ladder, butter, ladder, butter, ladder, butter, ladder, right? So you should be able to practice that. You should be practicing those rolled R sounds, which is the closest sound that we have if we say it fast to those rolled R's that the Colombians, that the Spanish speakers use, right? So rolled R's, right? Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So we have pero, pero, which is but, pero, emphasis on the pe, pero, 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 right? And then you have dog, which is perro, perro, butter, perro, 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 right? And then we have caro, which is expensive, caro, 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 expensive. And then we have car, carro, carro, carro. Okay. Then we have para, which is for, para, para, para. And then we have grapevine, which is para, para, right? Okay. So the closest R sound is in Scottish. So my guys from Scotland, they have the brr, or the Italian, they got the yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you guys get the point. All right. Practice that rolled R, right? It's everybody's biggest fear, but we could fix it. We could fix it with the butter, 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 ladder, 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 ladder. Now let's get to the silent H. The silent H, right? So I love you guys, my Americans. Proud to be my English speakers, right? I be seeing a lot of my English speakers say hola. And I just want to, you know, it's not hola, right? In Spanish, H is silent. I hope you guys learned that. And that's what I'm talking about with the Spanish schools, right? We learn how to say hola in school, right? Or you learn these words in Spanish class when we take Spanish class, but we don't really practice the speaking version. You can't say hola, right? It's hola, hola, hello, hola, right? Man, it's not, it's not hombre, it's it's not hombre, it's hombre, hombre, right? The H disappears, hombre, hombre, not hombre, hombre. Emphasis on the bre, hombre, hombre. Hacer, which is to do. It's not hacer or hacer, right? It's hacer. Emphasis on the ser. Hacer, 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 hacer. Okay? Hablar, which is to talk. Written hablar, right? It's not hablar, 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 hablar. Emphasis on the blah, hablar, right? Hotel. It's not hotel or hotel, right? It's hotel, hotel, hotel. I, written I, hi. It's not hi or hey, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's I, I. Donde hay? Donde hay? Where is it? I. He ho. It's not he ho. Hijo, which is son. Hijo. Hijo. And then the last word is hambre, which is not hambre. I'm hungry. Hambre. Hambre. This is easy fix, right? So we got to fix that. Keep in mind, H is the when a word starts with H, it's silent. I, hola, hombre, hacer, hablar, hotel, I, hijo, hambre. Good? Now let's look at the Spanish J sound. Spanish J. Okay? The Spanish J sound is like a soft G before the E or I, which makes that type of sound, right? So we got, right? It's juice, that's me, or orange juice. In Spanish is jugo, jugo, jugo. It's not jugo, it's jugo, but with more of your right here. Jugo from here. Jugo, jugo. Okay. Next word, to work or job, is trabajo. Trabajo, not trabajo or trabajo, whatever. Trabajo. Emphasis on the ba. Trabajo. Okay. Next word, people. Gente. Gente. Not gente or Ashton or gente. La gente. Emphasis on the hen. Gente. Better. Mejor. Mejor. Old or old man. Casual. Viejo. Viejo. Not viejo or viejo. 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 Es muy viejo. Él es muy don't say that to no viejo, right? Red. Rojo. Emphasis on the rojo. 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 Red. Woman. Mujer. Mujer. Or if you're in the Caribbean, they might say mujer. Don't say that. I found this on the web. Okay, bro, chill. Mujer. Mujer. Okay. Next word. Naranja. Naranja. Orange. Naranja. Jugo de naranja. Got it? Jugo, trabajo, gente. Say them out loud. Practice, right? Go back and work on it. Okay. So that's what we got. It's a controlled breath from the back of the throat with the G and J sounds. Okay. Trabajo, bajo. Pause. All right. Stress and rhythm. Stress and rhythm. Stress means where the emphasis goes in the word. Okay. So we're going to look at the pronunciation of these cities. All right. So, first of all, let's look at this word, right? Cafe, 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 right? Cafe is pronounced cafe, which is coffee. Bogota, Bogota. That's a city. Bogota, not Bogota. 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 You going to Bogota, man? Let's go to Bogota, bruh. You trying to go to Bogota with me, man? We trying to go to Bogota, bruh. Bogota. Why is it so fun? Bogota. Medellin, like we learned, okay? So we're gonna do the city drill, city stress drill. So we know how to pronounce these cities and we won't look goofy. Okay. Medellin, 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 Bogota. Stress on the last word or the last syllable, I'm saying. Bogota, Bogota. Colombia is pronounced in Colombian. Colombia, Colombia, Colombia. Emphasis on the third syllable. Colombia. Cali, Cali, Colombia. I'm going back to Cali, Cali. It's pronounced Cali, Cali, Cali. Next word or next city is Cartagena. It's not Cartagena or not Cartagena. It's Cartagena. Cartagena. Emphasis on the he. Cartagena. All right. And then the last city is Barranquilla, right? Barranquilla, as you guys would say in American or English. Barranquilla. Barranquilla. Emphasis on key. Barranquilla. Okay? Barranquilla. Let's go through them. Medellin, Bogota, Colombia, Cali, Cartagena, Barranquilla. Barranquilla. ¿Sí? ¿Entiendes? Listo. That's what I'm gonna start doing now. Listo. So yeah, guys, you're not gonna sound perfect, man. Like I make mistakes. My Spanish is not the best, but you know, you got to put in the work, right? You will not sound perfect all the time. You might make mistakes like me. That's fine. The goal is progress. We got to progress. The goal is to sound like you actually try to learn, not like this guy speaking Mexican Spanish in Laureles. You gotta, if you're in Colombia, you gotta try to see if you can speak like the Colombians. When in Rome, right? Okay. They're gonna notice that soft J sound when you pronounce. They're gonna notice how you pronounce Medellin correctly. They will notice when you stop pronouncing the silent H, right? Right. And then yeah, so you gotta make sure that you understand that the accent is muscle memory. Okay. So keep practicing, keep your mouth moving to try to practice your pronunciation, right? And then you're gonna be good. See you guys in the next module. All right, guys. Module 5, training your ears. Listening is half the game, it's half the battle because speaking is one skill, but being able to understand, that's a whole nother game. If somebody's speaking at you or speaking to you at full speed. So in this module, we're going to train your ears, and just like getting the reps, right? It's just like speaking, right? So you ask a question in Spanish, yeah, you feel good. You feel good. You finally ask a question in Spanish, you happy. And then once the person responds to you, which will happen to me, they respond to you at full speed and you catch two words. That doesn't mean you failed. That means you got to catch up on your listening. Okay? Speaking and listening are separate skills. It's like upper body and lower body, right? So if my lower body is not, strong enough, I'm still, I got to be able to work both. I can't just only work on upper body, right? I know you guys in the gym only work on upper body, but anyways, or women only work on lower body, only do squat. I always see women do squats. I never see women do. Anyways, all right. So training your ear, practice the reps, right? So you got to practice the reps. So the fix is not just more grammar to improve your listening. You got to listen to things daily, right? You don't have to be in Colombia to immerse yourself. Immersion doesn't mean moving to another country. Like I could have perfectly, improved my Spanish while living in the United States. You can do it. I wanted to do it because I like travel, and I feel like Colombia, when I seen it on Narcos, it just looked beautiful, and I feel like I want to go there. I got time away and just graduate. I want to practice my my Spanish, right? But you don't have to be in Colombia to improve your listening, right? You can practice your immerse your Spanish while you're walking on your commute, when you're going to the gym, when you're cooking, when you're cleaning before bed. You know, your brain is gonna adapt, right? You already have moments where audio is playing. Now you just have to be able to switch some of that audio in Spanish instead of only listening to Joe Budden podcast or Joe Rogan podcast, or don't whatever podcast. You should be trying to put a podcast in Spanish. Okay, and one of the easiest ways to do that is, like I said, Colombian or Spanish podcast. Podcasts train your ears at whatever level you are. But you got beginners podcasts, you got intermediate podcasts, intermediate level podcasts. So what you should be doing is practicing regularly. If it's better listening to a podcast 15 minutes a day, all right, than not practicing your listening when you get to Colombia or you get to wherever country you're going to. You're stuck, right? So start with the beginner podcast, right? They speak slower, they repeat ideas, they explain as they go. The goal is to keep showing up, right? Keep listening. Keep keep listening. If you don't understand, go back, take notes, you know? So practice listening. Headphones in, Spanish on. If you have time, like do it as a routine, right? So when I go to the gym, when I'm doing cardio, I'm listening to, like, I associate cardio with a listening podcast, a Spanish podcast. Or you can do it like you associate one thing, right? Like, for example, a lot of people when they're eating, they play a video, like a YouTube video or something. Like, try to associate something that you do that you can to listen in Spanish, right? When you wake up in the morning, maybe first thing you do is put on a podcast. When you brushing your teeth, or you getting ready, you doing your makeup, or guys, you're making your coffee, you about to make breakfast, whatever, play a podcast and just start to associate whatever time that you have to listening to a Colombian or Spanish speaking podcast. That's going to help you a lot. And I'm going to give you a few podcasts. You can start with the podcast. They got Duolingo podcast. I didn't put it here. If you're a really beginner, listen to the Duolingo podcast. Just put in Duolingo Spanish. If you're a beginner. But then you can also listen to Español Listos, right? You can listen to Hoy Hablamos. You can listen to Notes in Spanish. And I know it's Mexican podcast, but you can listen to Doorway to Mexico, right? These are good podcasts that you can start with. And also too on YouTube, if you like any topic, and what I'm starting to do is some YouTube videos they do the dubbing, they do auto dub. If you just click on the settings and try to find the auto dub, they dub whatever video in Spanish. Like I was listening to Nightcap. It's American football, or it's just a sports podcast with Shannon Sharp, and he has that auto dub feature. So you know what they're talking about, but you can dub it in Spanish, and this is it's practice, right? I'm already gonna listen to the podcast anyways. Why don't I listen to it dubbed in Spanish, or whatever podcast or whatever video you like to watch on YouTube? You can if it's available for you. I don't think it's for all videos. Matter of fact, let me show you. Let me share my screen. Hopefully, I'm sharing my screen. Let me check. Okay, it's shared. All right, so I'm gonna put in nightcap. What the heck? Nightcap. There it is. And I'm just gonna click any random. I'm just go on their profile. I'm just gonna click any random video. Let's do. Let's just click this one.
Hey guys, it's your favorite unk here. Go ahead and click.
So you see right here, audio track. So now, what I could do is I could turn that into Colombian Spanish, or just Spanish. I'm sorry. Where is Spanish at? It could do U.S. Spanish. You got another Spanish? Okay. Yeah, so they just got U.S. Spanish. Okay. So now look.
Hola chicos, aquí está su mate favorito. Adelante, hagan clic en el botón de suscripción de abajo para.
Y esto es lo que me encanta de las redes sociales de Twitch y de cualquier plataforma. Elimina el
See,
intermediario.
isn't that so cool, guys? So we can dub YouTube videos.
It cuts out the middleman and it gives
And you
players.
can do that to I'm not gonna say all YouTube videos, but I'm sure you can do that to most of your videos, right? Let's look at I'm put in Joe Rogan. I don't know. Joey. I mean, who's this guy's man? I'm gonna put in a PBD podcast. So I just click on PBD. Let's click this one, Rick Ross.
Would you put Drake at your level?
Oh yes, I can also dub this one too. So it's not all YouTube videos, but a lot of them can.
¿Pondrías a Drake a tu nivel? No. Sorry, tú no estás poniendo a Drake a tu nivel.
No, mira, puede que sí. Puedo verlo en tus ojos. Puede que te confundan. Los números y todos los números falsos que inundan el mercado.
I'm gonna watch this video in Spanish when I'm finished with this video. Hold on, let's see another one. Let's see Iceman.
Hi everyone.
We can't do it for this one, but we can for other videos, which is good. Let's see if we could do it for this clip.
Hombre y a tu equipo. Haciendo un espectáculo público,
Wow,
haciéndolo en
see?
internet. Mantente
I can
fuera
do
de...
it for Joe Budden podcast. So you can do it for video. We just gotta check which video that you can do it for. Not all videos. Let's see if I can do it for Pat McAfee.
You want to know about a
So
superstar?
I can't do it for Pat
You want-
McAfee. I can't do it for this one. Or I can. I'm tripping. But I can't do it in Spanish, which is crazy. I don't know why I can't do it in Spanish. Anyways, you get the point. All right, guys. So whatever you want to watch, you can listen to it in Spanish. If you like cybersecurity, let's put in a cybersecurity. What's my guy's name? Tech with Wally, I think his name is. Tech with Wally, I think his name was. Let's see if I can watch his video in Spanish.
Trabajar en un servicio de asistencia técnica puede ser una trampa y esto puede asustar
I mean,
mucho a mucha gente.
Guys, like lock in, guys. You can do it with pretty much. Just gotta find a video that you like and just watch it in Spanish. Sit down, take notes. Maybe you could put in the Can we put in the subtitles?
No saben lo que es un servicio de asistencia técnica. Este suele ser la primera línea de contacto.
I don't know if we could put the subtitles probably only in English. Translate. Oh, I could auto translate, dude. Come on, bro. We have no excuses. We have no excuses, guys. It's crazy. We have no excuses, dude.
Para obtener asistencia en problemas informáticos de bajo nivel. Mi contraseña está rota. No puedo conectarme a internet. No
It's
puedo
just
hacer
making me
esto.
mad. We can lock in if we really want to lock in, dude. we can really lock in. So come on, guys, let's get to it. You know what I'm saying? We can do it. We can improve our listening for sure. All right, let's get back to where we was at. We were right here. Now we know how to improve our listening with YouTube videos. Okay. So if you want to learn fast, I'd also say watch Colombian TV shows. Okay. Colombia shows, they train your ear differently. You hear the emotion, you can see the body language, you hear the arguments, you hear the jokes, you can understand like Colombian humor, flirting, frustration, the facial expression, right? So all that stuff is working together, and that helps you to connect that Spanish in real situations. Okay, so you can start with Spanish audio, and then you can also watch those YouTube videos that I showed you, right? And then if you want, you can also watch Colombian TV shows. So you can keep it with English subtitles. I even watch American TV shows with subtitles. You can keep them with subtitles, and your English is also going to keep translating. You're going to keep translating English, but that's okay, right? Those Spanish subtitles force your brains to connect uh, the sound with the word. That's why that's good. But if you are not at that level yet, you just keep it with English subtitles. Okay, you can start with like TV shows like this is the Spanish show I watched when I first was starting Colombian Spanish. Sin Seno No Hay Paraíso, La Reina del Flow, and Betty La Fea, which is pretty much, it's an immersion program, that show, but it's Bogota Spanish. That's Rolo Spanish. So keep that in mind. But anyways, you have options that you can do. Also, you can train your listening with music, right? So this is what I also did. I started listening, improving my Spanish with Nicky Jam and J Balvin, and obviously when I was younger, obviously Daddy Yankee. But I didn't write down the lyrics. But as I got older, I was listening to Nicky Jam lyrics, right? I was reading Nicky Jam lyrics. I would just see the song I like, and then I'd pull up the lyrics, listen and read, and then the phrases that I'd like, chocha, culo. I'm sorry, but the phrases I like, I'll write them down. And yeah, so you got artists that you can listen to like Fecho Fade. He's one of my favorite Colombian artists. Karol G, Ryan Castro, Blessed, Maluma, J Balvin, Carlos Vives, Shakira. These are the top Colombian artists right now. Also, my favorite artist, rest in peace, Jason Jimenez. I listen to also Jason Jimenez. I listen to a lot of Jason Jimenez. I'll put up his lyrics and I'll just start reading what he's saying. Like, I learned le gusta la mujer. I'm gonna get demonetized. Vaciendo botella. Vaciendo. I was listening. What the hell is vaciendo botellas? I was vaciendo botella. Oh, emptying bottles. Right? He's knocking down, like, you know what I'm saying. So you can, for sure, any song, just pull up the lyrics, write down some phrases, learn those fives, and go to the next song. You can start with reggaeton. You can start with vallenato. You can start with salsa if you want. Just figure it out, and then you can focus on building your listening skills through the music. Okay, so where you are versus where you're going. So week 1 and 4, what I would do is I would focus on beginner podcasts, music with lyrics, shows with Spanish subtitles. And then month 2 and 3, I'll try to advance to like intermediate podcasts, and then shows without subtitles sometimes if you understanding. Okay. And also this is just kind of like a roadmap. You don't have to follow this. You could do 1 to 2 months or 1 to 3 months with beginning podcasts, but you should do them in phases. Once you feel like you're ready to go, you know, to the next step, you do intermediate podcasts, right? With shows without subtitles, right? Short, real conversations. And then you could do the other one, right? Month 4 and beyond. That could be your month. Everybody's different, right? This is just my kind of roadmap, but you can do the regular Colombian content at a normal speed, real conversations, no subtitles needed. I still watch with subtitles, but I know a lot of people, they like to remove subtitles to kind of force themselves to learn. and they push themselves a little bit. But this is just a roadmap. You don't have to follow it, but you can just start with this, right? Start with this, because this is going to be the way that you're going to be able to improve your listening, your speaking, and it's just the process, right? All right, okay. But the whole thing comes down to one rule, right? The only rule that matters: consistency. You got to be consistent. So 15 minutes of listening to Spanish audio, right? It beats more than just 3 hour lesson. You don't have to force, you know, learn. You don't have to do 3 hours of learning in one sitting. 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and then gradually get, as you go, you keep doing more, right? Okay. Attach it to something that you're already doing. Like I said earlier, that morning walk, the commute, the making coffee, the putting on makeup, the gym, right? Make it automatic. Start to associate try to do something where you're doing every day to associate it with your daily life, where you can put it associated with Spanish, whether it's Spanish listening or Spanish speaking, right? You can have the audio and you practice speaking, at night, put on a voice memo and just start practice speaking. Okay. If you miss a day, it's fine. If you miss a week, you're going to feel it, but you should make it a habit to be consistent. And that's the point. All right. See you guys in the next module. All right, guys. So this is module 6. We're almost there. This is the part that's going to give you the tools, because now you know the method. You know you need to speak. You know you need to listen. Colombian Spanish is different. So now the question is, what do you use every day? And we're going to get into it. So apps, for example, are your training wheels. They're not the whole bike. Every app on this list has a specific job. Okay. So no app is going to make you conversational. Apps are good for building vocab. They're good for keeping a daily habit. They're good for getting those reps when you have 5 or 10 minutes to spare. But the real Spanish, right, happens when you use it with the people. Okay. A Duolingo streak is nice. Is nice. I've seen people with 500 days, 600-day Duolingo streaks. Congratulations. But that's not going to make you be able to speak when you get to, to Cali. Okay. Cali, they don't speak English in Cali. Okay. Or they don't speak English in some of these parts where you're going. Like if you want to go to at a Centro or wherever, they not really speaking English like that. Okay. Okay. So those streaks are nice, but we got to see how we can improve. Duolingo is a good starting point, right? It's not the destination. I think if you have a good vocabulary, you can ditch it. But if you're building, or if you're just getting basic vocabulary in, I've been on Duolingo in a long time, but I think on Duolingo you can go to different levels. So it's not like, okay, you start with soy un caballo, or so, like you start with, you could take a test and it puts you in wherever you want. So I think if you do that, that's good. But it's good, but it's not going to teach you like Colombian slang or Colombian, verbiage. It's good. Treat it like brushing your teeth. Just get it done and move on. Right. All right. So Duolingo, Hello Talk. If you guys don't know Hello Talk, you guys probably do. It's a good app. It lets you practice with native speakers. You help them with English. They help you with Spanish. That's the whole point. It's kind of like a trade-off. Okay. Language exchange. So what I would do is I would search for Colombian partners that you want to practice with the accent. Maybe you want to go to Barranquilla. So if you pay for the whatever, you can search cities as well. But if you want to just get the Colombian Spanish, you could find Colombian partners that you want. Okay. So what I would do is use the voice note feature. They have a feature where you can leave voice notes. Probably people are not going to message you back. Treat it like Hello Talk is a great app. I learned a lot in Hello Talk, but I met a lot of tire kickers, right? A lot of time wasters. Okay. So you can start texting, to get that texting out of the way. But if you can, just try to see if you can send voice notes, because that's going to be where your value is. Okay. Send and receive voice notes. Train your ear and your mouth. Right. So what I would do is use this, but remember, you're going to find a lot of tire kickers, man. people are going to be wasting your time. People just on there, especially if you're a woman, they're on there like just guys are being weird. Just got to be careful with that. But if you're willing to sift through the bullshit, Hello Talk is a great app for you to find potential friends. I have a good friend that I met on Hello Talk. Actually, my girlfriend, I met her on Hello Talk. So, yeah. Anyways, Tandem, similar to Hello Talk. Okay. Same concept. This is more like you guys remember this app? What was this app called during the pandemic? I forgot the name of that. Clubhouse. It's something like a Clubhouse. Okay, so it's a language exchange. You can join rooms and practice Spanish, German, all types of languages. But this is good for just practicing the speaking. Right? It's a different layout. It's not like Hello Talk. Hello Talk is more like Facebook of language exchange. And Tandem, I would say it's something like a X. Okay, different layout. Some people like Tandem better. Some people like Hello Talk better. Try them both out and see which one you like, and just try to see if you can stay consistent. If you want, if you can, if you don't want to sift through the bullshit like me, man. After a while, I don't even use those apps anymore. After a while, I'm like, man, just go on italki, right? Go on these, go find you a tutor, right? Italki is where you can book one-on-one sessions with real tutors. This is where you stop guessing. Okay, a real person can hear your pronunciation, right? A real tutor, he or she can correct you, correct your word choice, and you can choose a Colombian, right? You can filter it for Colombians, right? And you pay anywhere from $8 to $15 an hour, depending on the tutor, and you can just practice weekly or regularly with that tutor. Okay, tell your tutor, I want this sound natural in Colombia. Correct my accent, correct my pronunciation. Don't correct my accent, but correct my pronunciation. Teach me how people really talk. Okay, not textbook. I want to learn slang, right? I want to learn, you know, role play. You can role play with your tutors, right? That's what I used to do with my tutor. We used to role play, not that role play, but role play at the restaurant, role play, you know, with costumes I'm playing. But role play, okay? So yeah, if you guys want to support me or support this free training, book your free session on italki with my link. That's all, right? Just using this link supports the channel. That's all. You don't got to do it. You don't got to do it. Either way, just practice. I don't care how you get it. You want to support it, support me, support me. If not, it's cool. I'm cool anyways, right? So if you do, click on the link in the description, book a tutor on italki, and you're supporting the channel. And I would kindly appreciate it. But if not, it's cool. It's cool. I ain't tripping. All right. A tutor does what an app cannot do, right? Apps don't correct your accent in real time. A tutor does. Apps don't ask you follow-up questions when you get stuck. A tutor does. Right? Apps don't teach you how to recover when a conversation goes sideways. A tutor does, right? Apps don't hold you accountable. A tutor does. A tutor is like your trainer, right? He or she's your trainer. You can go to the gym, right? But if you want to see improvements, you can also get a trainer. You can get a tutor that's going to help you. And some of my tutors are my friends because we've built relationships, and it's something that someone I can go back to and ask questions. Right? It's a trade-off. Instead of me using Hello Talk and Tandem and meeting people that are wasting my time, I just pay for a tutor. Okay. The routine that actually works. Okay. So you can do, depending on your level, you could do however you want to do it, right? You build your schedule. You build your 20 minutes, right? If it's 20 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, if it's an hour, 2 hours, you build it, right? You could do 5 minutes of Duolingo, or 5 minutes of Hello Talk, right? Or 5 minutes of a Spanish podcast. Let's say Españolistos in the morning. Or you could do 5 minutes with a Colombian song, pull up the lyrics, catch new phrases, repeat the lines out loud, 5 minutes speaking out loud. Hola, Jules, ¿cómo estás? Oh, estoy bien. ¿Qué hiciste hoy? Hoy estaba trabajando todo el día haciendo videos para mis amigos and you like just however you could do it. Practice speaking 5 minutes. Speak out loud. Record yourself. If it's ugly, don't. It doesn't matter, right? If you don't speak, it wasn't practice. You got to speak. Okay. Put it in your routine. Get used to it. If you want to improve your Spanish, that's what you got to do. Okay. So instead of morning commute in English, you can morning commute with a podcast like Españolistas, right? Instead of cooking with English music, you can cook with Fecho or Carol G or Jason Jimenez. Okay. English podcasts like, PBD podcast, or I don't know, you're listening to Bloomberg podcast. Instead of doing that, dub it in Spanish if you can. Get YouTube Premium or lock your phone, and you can listen to it like a podcast, right? Spanish podcast at the gym. Don't add it to your day. Replace something. Replace something that you're doing, right? If you have time, replace it. That's what you could do. Then, once a week, you add the thing that gives you real feedback. Okay. Book one session with an italki tutor, Colombian tutor, right? Come to each session with 3 things that you struggle with in the week, right? Ask your tutor to speak at a normal speed and only slow down when you specifically ask, like por favor, más despacio, right? Record the session if the tutor allows you. Probably they will or they won't. I never record sessions, but this is the things that you can do. Okay. Everything you need and nothing you don't. You need a daily habit. You need to train your ear. You need free conversation, or just get a tutor and use my affiliate link. That's the whole system. Simple, free, or cheap. Now, all you got to do is put in the work. You got to execute. Execute, execute, execute. All right, guys, this is the last module. We're almost there. So this is where everything's going to start coming together. Speak ugly, speak often, speak now. That's the whole message. Your Spanish does not need to be pretty today. It just need to practice speaking. You just gotta come out of your mouth. Okay? We already did the tools, the slang, the accent, the listening. Now you gotta put in the work. Remember those guys back in 2018 I told you, remember? They studied the language. I lived the language. Right? They had their notebooks full, grammar memorized, 8-hour days. And 3 months later, I was the one that could hold a conversation over them. They could write about one, but I was the one that was speaking. Right? So you guys already know how to do it. You already learned English or whatever language you speak without a textbook. You heard people speak. You copied them. You got words wrong. Somebody corrected you. Then you tried again. That's how speaking is built. I'm not saying that grammar does not matter. Grammar matters. But being understood matters more. I'm not telling you to ignore grammar, no. But being understood, that's what matters. You make mistakes in English. I make mistakes in English. Nobody shuts down the whole conversation because you made a mistake in English. People understand the message and keep it moving. Give yourself the same room for Spanish. Okay? Say it wrong, fix it, say it better next time. And if you say it wrong again, it's okay, it's normal. You're going to keep making mistakes until your brain registers that, okay, this is not right. This is incorrect. And then eventually you catch on, right? But that comes with listening to Spanish, speaking Spanish, and then you're going to have that. You're going to come back to this video, you're going to be like, I had that click, and everything just clicked for you in Spanish. Okay? So you got to sound bad. It's okay. Sound bad now. Sound good later. But you got to start now. Every correction is a free lesson. Every awkward moment, like I told you when I said aguacito, when I first went to Colombia and I was like, un aguacito, por... that's an awkward moment that I learned from. It was a rep. You're going to make mistakes. Don't worry about it. Okay? When you make those mistakes, you actually are using the language. And that's the whole point. If you never speak, you never get dangerous. All right? Look at what you guys just did. You learned Spanish, Colombian greetings, day one survival phrases, pronunciation rules, and then you build the daily routine. Well, hopefully you're working on it. Okay, that's real foundation. All right. Once you close this video, say something in Spanish. Right? Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not after you buy another notebook, not after you watch 5 more videos. Close this video, and then you're going to say 5 sentences. Ugly ones are fine. Talk about your day. Talk about what you want to do. All right? Just speak. All right? And that's why I have in the description a Colombian pocket guide. All right? With phrases, with slang, with pronunciation notes, the mistakes to avoid, daily practice plan. The link is in the description. All right? Use it when you're actually outside. Take screenshots if you need to of it. Okay? All right? Link is in the description. All right? So, no app replaces a real human talking back to you. You can use ChatGPT. It's cool, but it's not like you speaking to a real Colombian tutor. Right? You can just do one class a day, 30-minute class, or 1 hour, one class a day, one class a week. Start with one class a week, 30 minutes, and then build on that. Yeah. So, guys, subscribe, like the video, right? More is coming. We're going to learn some more Colombian slang, some regional accents, real situation. All right. Also, in the description, there is a wait list for travel, Colombian travel Spanish course, right? So if you want to get that course, there's a wait list for it. It's also in the description. All right. So guys, this was a nice video. We learned a lot. Hopefully you learned something. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. And I'm going to see you guys next time. All right.